Hello my dear students, this is Mrs. Shayma Gharib and today's lesson about indices, powers or exponents. Some rules before we watch any video. First, you have to sit in a quiet place. You should have your pen and a piece of paper to take notes and to solve the questions. You should pause the video after each question, then you try to answer on your own. Then you play the video to check your answer and to understand the question in case you get a wrong answer. Are you ready? Let's start our lesson. Our lesson today about indices, powers or exponents. The three words have the same meaning. Let's see what do they mean. It tells you how many times the number should be multiplied by itself. Indices is the plural of the word index. Now let's see how it looks like. This is how do you write the indices or the powers or the exponent. The number up here is called the index number or our power. And the number down is called the base number. So the number up is called the index number, which is the power or the exponent, and the number down is called the base number. Now let's see how do we read and write indices. For example, this one, we read it as 3 to the power of 2, which means 3 is raised to the power of 2. Okay? Also, we can read it as 3 squared. So when the index is 2, we can read it two ways. I can read it the normal way, 3 to the power of 2, or I can read it as 3 squared. So I can use the word squared when the power is 2, or the index is 2. Second example, how can I read it? We read the base number first, then we read the index that it is raised to. 5 here is raised to the power of 4. So we read it as 5 to the power of 4. Now let's see this one. 4 is raised to the power of 3. So we read it two ways. I can say 4 to the power of 3, or I can say 4 cubed. So this is how do we read and write indices. What do you notice here? When the power is 2, I can read it two ways. I can use the word squared, or I can read it the normal way by reading the base number, then the power, 3 to the power of 2. And also, when the power is 3, it has two ways of reading. I can read it as to the power of 3, or using the word cubed. Is this clear? Now let's see what does this mean. We said it tells you how many times the number should be multiplied by itself. So if I said 3 squared or 3 to the power of 2, it means the 3 is multiplied by itself 2 times. So it tells me how many times the number should be multiplied by itself. So 3 to the power of 2, it means that the 3 is multiplied by itself 2 times, not multiplied by 2. Please pay attention to this point. It's really important. So I'm going to multiply the 3 by itself just 2 times. 3 times 3 equals 9. Now let's see. 5 to the power of 4. What does it mean? It means that this 5 is multiplied by itself 4 times. So 5 times 5 times 5 times 5, which is 625. Next example, 4 raised to the power of 3 means the 4 is multiplied by itself 3 times. We can also say 4 cubed. As we said, when the power is 3, I can read it two ways. To the power of 3 or using the word cubed. So 4 times 4 times 4 equals 4 times 4, 16 times 4 one more time will be 64. Now, look at this example. 2 to the power of 5, which means the 2 is multiplied by itself 5 times. So the answer here will be 32. 2 times 2, 4. 4 times 2, 8. 8 times 2, 16. 16 times 2 is 32. Now 3 to the power of 3 or 3 cubed, 3 times itself 3 times. 3 times 3 times 3. 3 times 3 equals 9. 9 times 3 equals 27. So 3 cubed equals 27. 1 to the power of 6, which means the 1 will be multiplied by itself 6 times. What do you think? In this case, if the base number is 1, what do you think about the value? It will always be 1, because if I said 1 times 1 will be 1. 1 times 1 times 1 will be 1. 1 times 1 times 1 times 1 forever, the answer will be always 1. Is this clear? Now, let's see more examples. Look at this question here. Write the following using the index notation, which means the index format or the powers or the exponents format. In this question, I don't ask about the value. I'm just asking about the index notation or the index format. I will give you the multiplication sentence like this, and I will ask you to give me the index notation. So the base number here is number 2, and 2 is multiplied by itself how many times? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So it will be 2 to the power of 8, and this is the answer of this question. So when the question asks you to express the sentence using the index notation, we just write the index notation. We don't need to find the value here. 6 times 6 times 6 times 6 times 6, which means, what do you think? 6 to the power of? Yes, 6 to the power of 5, because the 6 is multiplied by itself 5 times. 7 times 7 times 7 times 7, and so on. How many times the 7 is multiplied by itself? It's 10 times. So 7 to the power of 10. Is this clear? How do we use the index notation? Now let's revise some important notes together about indices. Any number to the power of 0 equals 1. So if I have, for example, number 5 to the power of 0, the value will be 1. If I have number 13 to the power of 0, the answer will be 1. Number 1000 to the power of 0, the answer will be 1. So any number to the power of 0, the answer or the value will be always 1. Any whole number means it's raised to the power of 1. What does this mean? It means number 8, for example, equals to 8 to the power of 1. So when the number is raised to the power of 1, I don't write the power here. I just write the number as it is, just number 8. Number 3 is same as 3 to the power of 1, but I don't write power 1. Okay? 1 to the power of any number equals 1. We said before, 1 to the power of 2, when I multiply the 1 by itself, for any number of times, the answer will be always 1. So 1 to the power of 5 equals 1. 1 to the power of 7 equals 1. 1 to the power of 10 equals 1, and so on. Okay? These notes are really important to know. Now, it's our questions time. Are you ready? Let's start. Find the value of the following. We have the first number, 9 to the power of 0. What did we say about 9 to the power of 0 or power 0 when the index number is 0? Do you remember? Yes, the answer will be 1. Any number to the power of 0 equals 1. 1 to the power of 21. So we also said 1, when it's raised to any number of power, the answer will be always 1. 5 to the power of 3, which means 5 times 5 times 5. The 5 is multiplied by itself 3 times, which is 125. 5 times 5, 25 times 5 is 125. 4 to the power of 5 means the 5 is multiplied by itself 5 times. 4 times 4 times 4 times 4 times 4. The answer here will be 1024. Now look at this question, and I want you to pay attention to these two questions. Here in the first question, it was asking about the value. So in case asking about the value, we write the answer. But in this question, he's asking about the index, or to use the index notation. So in this question, we are going just to rewrite the multiplication sentence using the index format or the index notation. 4 times 4 times 4 times 4 times 4 times 4 times 4, which means that the 4 is multiplied by itself how many times? 7 times. So it will be 4, the base number is 4, raised to the power of 7. Is this okay? Next one, it will be 8, the base number is 8, raised to the power of 6. So 8 to the power of 6. 7 is raised to the power of 5. 2 is raised to the power of 9, because the 2 is multiplied by itself here 9 times. Now, look at this question here. We have two different numbers, 4 and 3. The 4 is multiplied by itself 4 times, and the 3 is multiplied by itself 3 times, which means the 4 is raised to the power of 4, and the 3 is raised to the power of 3. And we write it as 4 to the power of 4 times 3 to the power of 3. And we must put a multiplication sign between them. Okay? Now, let's see another example. 8 times 8 times 6 times 6 times 6 times 6 times 6. So the 8 is multiplied by itself 2 times, and the 6 is multiplied by itself 5 times. How do we write this using the index notation or the index format or the powers format? 8 is raised to the power of 2. 6 is raised to the power of 5. So, yes, we are going to write it as 8 to the power of 2 times 6 to the power of 5. Look at this one. It's very easy. Let's do it. 7 multiplied by itself 5 times, and 5 multiplied by itself 2 times, and all of them are multiplied by each other. So it will be 7 to the power of 5 times 5 to the power of 2. Now here, the 2 is multiplied by itself how many times? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And it's only one number. So it will be 2 to the power of 9. This is the end of our lesson today. I hope you enjoyed the video, and if you have any question, please feel free to leave a comment and I will answer you as soon as possible. See you next video, and please remember that your feedback is highly appreciated. Thank you very much and see you soon.